Peace and blessings, family. This is your brother, asarimhotep, with the Martin Delaney Center for Egyptology. And today is Kujichagulia, Monday, June the 3rd, 2024. And we are going to continue our discussion from yesterday, which we addressed the pros and cons of using ChatGPT when it comes to serious academic research. And we will further address the notion that you can use ChatGPT with the perspective that it is an expert on any subject. So we will address Brother Sheffrin's show last night, regarding at least the aspect of his show where he's using ChatGPT to help define the word kimet. So all that and more when we return in just a moment. And we are back, and just want to say welcome to each and every one of you who is joining live. This is, in the words of Zane Montego, an impromptu show. So I don't have like crazy slides or anything today. So it's going to be us and ChatGPT today. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Alexis, Brandon Isbell, and Zane Montego, and Teti Ursula Atras Neferu, Brother Cedric Ortega, Brother Sean P. is in the building. Am I missing anyone? Sister Mika is in the building. Yes, it is early today. And Muntu 2.0 is in the building. Thank you for joining the conversation. And Brother Obama is in the building, as well as our good brother Meal Spite. And we have Spin Barrel, as well as Everything is Everything. So shout out to each one of you who have made yourselves known in the chat on YouTube. And you can join the conversation if you are watching from Twitter, now known as X. But we're just going to get into it because I don't have a lot of time today. So it's not going to be a long show. So what I want to do is to share my screen, and let me scroll all the way back to the top here. So as I stated earlier, last night, I wasn't able to watch it live, so I still have to finish the rest of the show. So last night on the Skeptic Show, or the show with Brother Sheffrin, he did a show concerning, I don't know if my show on yesterday was the only show that he addressed, but I believe he said something to the nature of he's been, watching, all the shows all week. And so he's just making a response show to every show that was, that had been had on the various channels on YouTube that we commonly interact with. So with that, matter of fact, let me make this fuller screen, and hopefully y'all can see what I have here. So, you know, um, Sheffrin was in the chat yesterday when we were discussing the pros and cons of using Chat GPT and the dangers for using Chat GPT in lieu of an actual expert researcher on a particular subject. And so it is clear that Sheffrin, either didn't hear some parts or just did not comprehend what was being said. And, for example, we never said that you should not use ChatGPT. And matter of fact, everyone on the panel, including myself, mentioned that we use ChatGPT all the time. But what I never use ChatGPT for is academic research regarding anything for which I'm going to be making an article or a book or anything to that nature. And because the stakes are too high to rely on ChatGPT, and we also pointed out the known errors that ChatGPT is known for, including bias, including the large hallucinations, it making up sources and arguments, and so we showed a lot of that live on yesterday. So now we're going to expand this argument, and we're going to address something specifically that Brother Sheffrin had mentioned, and that was regards to using ChatGPT. Now, we stated in the conversation on yesterday that ChatGPT is as good as the quality of the questions and prompts that you ask it. And even if you ask quality prompts, it does not guarantee that the information that it's going to spill to you is going to be solid information. So, so what I have done here, and hopefully, let me know. And I know it's going to be a time delay. Let me know if for those of you who have large enough screens, if the information that is on the screen is visible, that y'all can read it very well. If so, in the chat, press 1. If not, press 0. Right, and I'll wait. And peace and blessings to Brother Chavez, who has joined the conversation. H-Town in the building. And no, I didn't skip anyone. So, all right, so it's good. Mika says she watching it on TV, so she balling in the mix. She's not like us mortals who have screens, right? Peace and blessings to Brother Flag in the building. Thank you for joining the conversation. So I know it's mad early where you're at, all the way on the West Coast. So thank you for joining greatly. And so, again, for those who are just joining, we're using ChatGPT to see what kind of information it can tell us about the place name Kemet. So in the top of the chat is what I type. So I've already done this, and we're just going to go down and scroll and just read what ChatGPT says to my prompts, right? So I said, today you are an Egyptologist training in historical comparative linguistics. Can you please tell me the meaning of the place name Kemet in the ancient Egyptian language? So this is a very simple prompt. There's no confusion. And so this is its response, and it's a pretty standard response, something that you'll get in any dictionary, right? So it says, in the ancient Egyptian language, the place name Kemet, often transliterated as Kemet or Kemet, means the black land. This term was used by the ancient Egyptians to refer to their own country, specifically the fertile, dark soil of the Nile River Valley. The name contrasts with Deshret, meaning the red land, which referred to the surrounding deserts. The term Kemet derives from the word Kim, which means black. This is in reference to the rich black alluvial soil deposited by the annual flooding of the Nile, which was crucial for agriculture and sustaining the ancient Egyptian civilization. Thus, Kemet highlights the importance of the Nile and its fertile banks in the life and identity of ancient Egypt. So, this is a pretty standard response that you are going to get from any general Egyptologist, any dictionary or source material that when you look up the word Kemet, what is going to tell you about this particular place name. So this in of itself is not controversial at all, given the state of our knowledge, right? So I then ask it, can you tell me how you came to the conclusion that Kemet derives from a word Kim that means black, right? So it responded, ChatGPT that is, the conclusion that Kemet derives from the word Kim, meaning black, comes from the study of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs and language structure, as well as corroborated evidence from ancient texts and comparative linguistics. So it starts listing the evidence, right? So the first one is the hieroglyphic evidence. So the word Kemet is written using the hieroglyphs for Kim. And I don't know if y'all can see this, but it actually has the I6 glyph right here, right? Which depicts a crocodile skin with spines and is conventionally understood to mean black, followed by the T ending that often denotes a feminine or abstract noun. Now I have to pause right here because when Sheffrin asked about Kemet last night, ChatGPT gave the other answer that some sources will say, and that is Kim is a burnt piece of wood and coal. So this Kim glyph cannot simultaneously be a crocodile skin with spines and charcoal and burnt wood. So you see, it hasn't differentiated and knows the difference between the two concepts. So, but that's neither here nor there. That's just a point that I wanted to make. So it continues. Hieroglyphic dictionaries and grammar guides confirm this interpretation. For instance, Gardner's Sign List, a standard reference in Egyptology, identifies the hieroglyph Kim as meaning black, right? So it continues on point number 2, given the text and the context. In various ancient Egyptian texts, Kim is used in contexts where black is an appropriate meaning. For example, it describes the color of hair, eye makeup, and objects. The phrase Kemet is consistently used to refer to Egypt, particularly in contrast to Deshret, the red land or desert. This usage aligns with the fertile black soil of the Nile Valley. So he's saying there's kind of a compare and contrast. So when you see the word Kim in the hieroglyphic text, it is used to describe uh, nominal things, right? Which would make sense since Kim is an adjective, right? So in the phrase Kemet, they're saying that the evidence is based upon its contrast with Desheret, meaning red land, right? So it says comparative linguistics. Comparative studies of Afro-Asiatic languages to which ancient Egyptian belongs support the semantic field of Kim relating to darkness or the color black. And then lastly, it says scholarly consensus. Egyptologists and linguists such as James P. Allen in his work on the Middle Egyptian language and R.O. Faulkner in his concise dictionary of Middle Egyptian interpret Kemet as the black land, corroborating the derivation from Kim, meaning black, right? These lines of evidence collectively support the conclusion that Kemet derives from the word Kim, meaning black, referring to the fertile black soil of the Nile Valley. So notice it doesn't even address Kemet meaning black people or black cattle, right? It goes with the standard definition of Kemet meaning black land and in reference to the fertile soil, right? So we are going to continue. So I asked it another question. So right here, in this text. So I say, the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic script has many homographs, possible homonyms, of roots consisting of the Kim consonant sequence. What steps did you take to eliminate from the research all of the other Kim words in the Egyptian language to conclude that the place name Kemet derives from Kim black and not some other Kim word in the language like Kim to complete? So I hope y'all understand the question that I asked it, right? So it replied to me, to conclude that the place name Kemet derives from Kim meaning black rather than from the homographs or homonyms like Kim meaning to complete, a systematic approach is required. Here are the steps typically taken in Egyptological research to ensure the accuracy of such conclusions. Now, this is telling right here, because what did I ask ChatGPT here? I said, or I asked it, what steps did you take to eliminate from the research all of the other Kim possibilities? So it replies to me, here are the steps typically taken in Egyptological research to ensure the accuracy of such conclusions. It doesn't reply, these are the steps that I took, right? So keep that in mind. So the typical steps that you would take to eliminate the other hypotheses first starts off with contextual analysis. So contextual usage, examine the context in which Kemet is used in ancient texts. The place name Kemet is used in geographical, agricultural, and political context to refer specifically to the fertile land of Egypt, rather than as context that would imply completion or other abstract concept. Semantic field, field of meaning. Consider the semantic field of the word Kim. The meaning black fits the geographical and agricultural description of the Nile Valley's fertile soil. Compare this to the other meanings of Kim, such as to complete, which do not align with the description of a place or its characteristics. Which, this is inaccurate because, for example, you have the word uh, meh in Egyptian. That means to fill or to be full. And then when you add the T to that word, it now is defined as the marshlands, right? But ChatGPT would know this, and we'll see why it would know this, and it could never know unless somebody told it, right? So morphological analysis, suffixes and determinatives. Analyze the morphological structure of Kemet. The word Kemet includes the feminine suffix t, common in place names and abstract nouns, indicating it is likely a noun describing a characteristic, such as color, of a place. Additionally, hieroglyphs often include determinatives that gives clues to the meaning Kemet. Gives clues to the meaning, or give clues to its meaning, I should say. Kemet includes a determinative that suggests land or place, but don't tell Smash and Reggie that they don't believe it has any word for land or place. But that's neither here nor there. Let's continue. It says comparative linguistics, related terms. Compare with other Afroasiatic languages with Egyptian itself. Words with the root Kim, meaning black, and related to earth or soil have parallels in related languages, reinforcing this interpretation. Now, if I wanted to do a follow up, I would have replied specifically to this commentary and asked, can you please provide examples of such an analysis? But, I have another agenda at the moment, so we're going to skip that. So it says, in the next step, ancient texts and inscriptions, usage in text. Study inscriptions and texts where Kemet appears alongside descriptive terms. When Kemet appears with words describing agriculture, fertility, or contrast with the desert, it supports the black interpretation. Not necessarily, but that's neither here nor there. Contrast and pairing. Kemet is often contrasted with Desheret. the red land, which describes the surrounding desert. The binary opposition, black versus red, is a strong indicator that Kemet refers to color. And again, this is not necessary because this would assume that Desheret means red land. So in order for this to be true, we have to definitively conclude that Desheret means red land and not something else. Because there are, just like with the word Kim, there were other Deshers in the ancient Egyptian language. And that fit more with describing what a Desheret is, right? So number 6, it says scholarly consensus, review of the literature. Consider the consensus among Egyptologists and linguists who have extensively studied the language and culture. Works by renowned scholars like James P. Allen and R.O. Faulkner are based on comprehensive analysis and provide a reliable basis for understanding the meaning of Kemet, which is not true at all, because none of these authors have done any analysis on the word Kemet. They simply copied the dictionaries that were before them and put it in their dictionary. But that's neither here nor there. So lastly is etymological consistency. Historical consistency. Ensure that the interpretation of Kemet as black land is consistent through different historical periods and regions of ancient Egypt. If Kemet was used consistently in this way across various texts and artifacts, it strengthens the case for the black interpretation. Now, in of itself, these particular steps I generally agree with and actually have followed this in my 2023 text, which if you have not gotten yet or even know about, you should know about the text Race and Identity in Ancient Egypt, Volume 1, Towards a Meaning for the Place Name or of the Place Name, Kemet. And actually, this is an old cover, so it should say Towards an Etymology of the Place Name Kemet, right? Anyway, so getting back to the text here. So this is, in general, I wouldn't have much disagreement with this, but there's particulars that I'm aware of that ChatGPT isn't considering in the conversation. But it ends by saying, by thoroughly examining these aspects, Egyptologists can confidently conclude that Kemet derives from Kim, meaning black, as it aligns contextually, semantically, and morphologically with the descriptions and usage of ancient Egypt's fertile land. Now, remember when I made a big deal that when I asked it, what steps did you take? And it responded with, here are some steps typically taken in Egyptological research. I understand what some Egyptologists may do, but I want to know what you did, right? So if you understand that line of questioning, you can understand my next question. I said, or I asked, did you follow these steps when you gave me your initial answer? Or did you simply repeat the information from the data set that you were trained on? Right? So it responds to me. In my initial response, I drew on the information available from the data set I was trained on, which includes a synthesis of established Egyptological scholarship and linguistic analysis. It's supposed to be analyses. While I didn't explicitly listen to what it says, while I didn't explicitly walk through each of these steps in that response, the conclusions I provided are based on methodologies and research processes outlined. However, to give a more thorough and transparent account of how such a conclusion is typically reached, I provided the detailed steps in my follow-up response. These steps reflect the rigorous methods used by Egyptologists to determine the meaning of ancient words and place names, including the term Kemet. So, to specifically address your question, my initial answer, based on, and his initial answer that he gave me was based on trained data set. which incorporates established scholarly consensus and methodologies. And then the follow-up explanation provided a detailed breakdown of the steps that Egyptologists would typically follow to ensure that Kemet is correctly derived from Kim, meaning black. Both responses are consistent with how scholars approach the interpretation of ancient Egyptian terms, ensuring accuracy and reliability. So, this is an important thing to read and digest and to understand completely. Because remember when we had the conversation on yesterday, and when we read the Forbes article, it said, out of one of the top six issues that arise with ChatGPT is biases, and this is an example of biases that affect the kinds of answers that it gives you. Because as I stated on yesterday, there's no such thing as artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a goal and it is a marketing term. Computers are not intelligent. Computers cannot conduct research on its own, right? So it can only spew back at you what it was given. So if the human beings purposely entered, a particular type of data set, is only going to respond to you based upon that data set. What is included and what is excluded depends on human beings, because human beings at the end of the day monitor ChatGPT. And human beings are naturally biased, and which is why it responds the way that it does, right? So I said, as a follow-up, can you provide the name of the sources in which Egyptologists conducted a detailed study on the etymology of the place name Kim? Right now, I want you to understand the question I asked it. I didn't ask it for resources where the word Kemet is given and a definition is provided. I asked it specifically, can you provide the name of the sources in which Egyptologists conducted a detailed study on the etymology of the place name Kemet? You see how detailed and specific my questions are to ChatGPT, right? So now let's continue. So uh, ChatGPT responds, certainly. The etymology of the place name Kemet has been studied and discussed in various works by Egyptologists. Here are some key sources where you can find detailed studies and discussions on this topic. So it gives James P. Allen, Middle Egyptian, an introduction to the language and culture of the hieroglyphs. And all of these sources that it gives me, I have in my collection. And I can tell you right now, none of these give any kind of detailed uh, analysis and response on the word Kemet. These are all dictionaries. So Raymond Faulkner's A Concise Dictionary of Middle Egyptian, right? Sir Alan Gardner, being an introduction to the study of hieroglyphs, which is a grammar book and dictionary. But there is no detailed study on the word Kemet in Gardner's text. Adolf Ehrman and Herman Graphoff, no detailed study. It's only a dictionary. So all it does is mention the various forms of the word Kemet and provided some definitions for these terms. Kurt Seath, Hieroglyphic Text from Egyptian Stele, etc., in the British Museum, edited by Kurt Seath. Again, this text here, there's no detailed analysis on the word Kemet itself. None of these. This is the only one that would be a detailed. Well, Gardner's, since it's a grammar book, because he has some primary source references in this text. But this would be the only text, but it doesn't have that in the text. And it says these sources are foundational texts in Egyptology and provide the detailed linguistic and etymological analysis needed to understand the place name Kemet. They represent the scholarly work and consensus that inform our understanding of the Egyptian language and place names. So there's no mention of Cooper's text on toponymy on the periphery. And keep in mind that ChatGPT is trained up to years 2023 in terms of data, right? There's no mentioning of Diop. There's no mentioning of Alessandri Nibi's text. There's no mention of Golet's text or article, right? It doesn't know, it's just making up stuff. Like none of these texts have detailed analyses. And anybody who, studies the language and has these texts will know that I am telling the truth here. There's no detailed analysis. So remember my question. Can you provide the name of the sources in which Egyptologists conducted a detailed study on the etymology of the place name Kemet? None of them. None of these texts. Because Egyptologists have not done that work. So ChatGPT has to make up sources here. These sources just mention the word Kemet and give the standard definition. The definition for which Sir Alan Gardner, Raymond Faulkner, and James P. Allen derived from Adolf Ehrman and Hermann Grappal. This is the first dictionary that has the word Kemet, meaning black land. All of these dictionaries just copied this dictionary. All these dictionaries came later because this dictionary is 5 volumes. So they wanted to make a shorter dictionary. So this is a grammar book. So it has a small dictionary towards the back of the book. And Raymond Faulkner and James P. Allen is borrowing all its entries from Adolf Ehrman and Hermann Grappal and Kurt Seith, but not this particular text. Kurt Seith also has a dictionary and some other texts, right? So ChatGPT is making this up, but you wouldn't know that if you didn't have a background already in Egyptology and knew the answers to these questions. You would take this as definitive because if you are on the pseudo killers, you believe that ChatGPT is an expert on something, which it is not. But let's continue. I say, I pivot a little bit. I ask it, can you list all of the ancient Egyptian words with the Kim as the root? And it says, listing all the ancient Egyptian words with Kim as the root involves examining a comprehensive dictionary or lexicon of Middle Egyptian. And I don't know why it would stop at Middle Egyptian. There's Old Egyptian, there's New Egyptian, there's Demotic and Coptic, right? Here are some common words that have Kim as their root along with their meaning. So it doesn't even try to answer my question specifically because it can't list all the Kims, right? But let's look at the 6 answers that it gave me. So it says Kim, black. That is correct. Kemet, Egypt, the black land. That's a standard definition of the word Kemet in the dictionaries. Then it has this word here, Kima, a Kemer, meaning to complete, to end, to be perfect. This does not exist. This word in Egyptian does not even exist. This word Kemer, meaning crocodile, due to its association with the god Sebek, often depicted with a black color. This word does not exist in the ancient Egyptian language. Then it has this word Kimeret, completion and perfection. This word does not exist in the ancient Egyptian language. Then it says Kim with a seated man behind it, a rare term, possibly meaning to be effective, context dependent. I don't know if this word, I know I don't know if this word exists. But there's another meaning along the lines with, service and task that this would be an appropriate, synonym for that term. So I'm going to assume that this one actually exist, but not with the seated man determinative, right? So out of the 6 entries that it gave, 3 of them don't exist. So if you didn't know ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, you would assume, because you follow the pseudo killers and you're pseudo yourself, that ChatGPT is an expert. But ChatGPT lies. It just made this up. And this is one of the issues that we have with ChatGPT, which we call hallucinations. It makes up sources, it makes up arguments. And as I stated before, in order for ChatGPT to be useful to you, you already have to have a deep knowledge of the subject to know when it is making up stuff. Otherwise, you will find yourself in a world of trouble relying solely on uh, ChatGPT. And if you had access to other material, ChatGPT, there would be no need for you to go to ChatGPT. So, brother Sheffrin talking about, we can confirm with other dictionaries and stuff. If you have access to the other dictionaries, you don't need ChatGPT. So it continues. These words illustrate the homographs and the homonyms present in the ancient Egyptian language, 3 of them which don't exist. In a detailed linguistic study, Egyptologists use context, determinatives, and other grammatical clues to distinguish between these meanings. For a comprehensive list of words with the root kim, you would need to consult specific entries in dictionaries like R.O. Faulkner's A Concise Dictionary of Middle Egyptian, or the Wörterbuch der Egyptian Sprache by Ehrman and Graffal. These works catalog the vocabulary of ancient Egyptian and provide detailed information on the meanings and the uses of the terms. And notice, and this is something that I said the other day, if you speak English, rarely, if ever, is ChatGPT going to give you French sources or sources in other languages. So this is a rare that it gives a German, but this is so standard in Egyptology that this is why Adolf Ehrman and Grappal's text, emerges. But notice there's no French dictionaries, not even a mention of Sean. I'm sorry. Um, the Younger's text, uh, in terms of Champollion, well, Champollion and his brother, the Younger, text, none of that is mentioned in this list, right? So again, these 3 words here don't exist in the ancient Egyptian language. There is a word kim, to complete, to end, to be perfect. There's a word kimet that means dorsal fin. There is no kimer, meaning crocodile, in the language. There is no kimeret, meaning completion and perfection. There's kim, right? So these it just is combining things together, trying to make sense of the data, right? So so it continues. Here are some references where you can find more information: Faulkner, Ehrman and Grappal, Sir Alan Gardner, right? These resources will give you a complete and detailed view of the words with the root kim in the ancient Egyptian language. And again, it doesn't, because ChatGPT doesn't conduct research, it cannot distinguish the mere mentioning of a term versus a detailed study on it. And I could get more specific. Can you provide journal articles that that analyze and discuss in great detail the place name Kemet and its etymology, right? And it would do the same thing. because it's not accessing those things. So I ask it. I make a statement. So I say, so it is safe to say that you cannot personally verify information that has been directly given to you and flagged as true. Right. So understand the question that I asked. So it is safe to say that you cannot personally verify information that has not been directly given to you and flagged as true. And so this response from ChatGPT is very telling. So it says, as an AI language model, I rely on the data I was trained on, which includes a wide range of sources and established scholarship up to my last training cutoff in 2023. When I provide information, especially on specialized topics like ancient Egyptian linguistics, it is based on the synthesis of this data. However, I cannot independently verify new information or conduct original research outside of my training data. For detailed verification and most accurate and up to date information, it is always best to consult what? Primary sources and current scholarly works. In the context of Egyptology and historical comparative linguistics, these sources would include the works of recognized Egyptologists and comprehensive dictionaries or lexicons of the ancient Egyptian language. In summary, reliance on training data. My responses are based on the training data, which includes established scholarly consensus. Two, verification. I cannot independently verify new or unflagged information. Verification should come from consulting primary sources in recent scholarly research. References for thorough verification, referring to primary texts and authoritative sources like those by James P. Allen, R. Faulkner, and Alan Gardner, and others is recommended. So I hope that what I'm showing here is understood by why you can't simply rely on Chat GPT, because Chat GPT cannot think, it cannot compare and contrast, it cannot verify any, it says information that is in its training, but it can't verify any information at all, because it can't tell you if Raymond Faulkner or Erman Grappa are correct. It can't conduct a proof, right? It can't read meta nature in the scripts. It can't look at alternative arguments and assess which one is more plausible, right? It can't do any of that. It's a language model. It is designed simply to train on a data set and to provide answers. It's a very expensive Google search engine that can respond to you directly instead of giving you um, a list of web pages that may relate to your topic. It draws on the data set for which it was trained and simply talks to you and provides you a direct answer. That's what a large language model is. And that's why it can't do research. It's not designed to do research. It's not designed to verify anything, right? And this is why we don't rely on Chat GPT for these things, because it provides source material that doesn't discuss what you ask it, and then it just makes up stuff in the process, hoping you just go away and won't ask it any more questions, right? But this is the level of scholarship for YouTubers, right? which is why those of us who do research for real do this is useless for us, right? Now, if I want to make some copy for a general website, you know, if I want to, for example, like I would use ChatGPT. Like if you have the paid version, ChatGPT 4, you could, upload documents. So let's say you have a rent agreement that's in a PDF, or you have some contract that 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 you want to sign, but you're not really kind of sure of all the jargon that is used and what each section means. I would upload that document to ChatGPT and tell ChatGPT to analyze the document and then inform me in layman's terms exactly what each section it means, and possible recommendations based upon uh, similar text in its data set. Right? That's how you use ChatGPT. You don't use it, to conduct research. Like you ChatGPT doesn't replace an actual lawyer, right? In this sense. So I hope that this provides you all with some more information and a basis to kind of understand where we were coming from and the issues that we have, and why it's at the end of the day it's a waste of time trying to go back and forth with people in this community who do not conduct their own research or don't know about research methods and checks and balances and how to conduct proofs and the like. And so if Wikipedia and Chat GPT is a star in your book for conducting research, then we not built from the same or we're not cut from the same cloth. And it is what it is. Um, and so I did not want this show to be long, so it's going on 50 minutes now. I do appreciate each and every one of you who have made yourselves known, and I'm pretty sure there will be some response videos to this, but I don't care. I got other things to do. And so I wish you all a happy Kujichagulia, aka Monday, or I should say formerly known as Monday. And y'all enjoy the rest of your week. And for those on Patreon, note that this Saturday we're going to have an interview with an African Egyptologist, and that will be uploaded that day. So just be on the lookout, and wish you all well, and see you next time. Alrighty then, peace.
Feeling like I dropped the draw for and caught Uno. Came to kick the door with the game man judo. Pin game low, that's why they give me kudos. Inspired by the 3-0. 595, check it for pack light. Hit the turnpike, slide to a baseline. Gotta sound like I just hit the 8-5. Oh, I'm so ready, by enemies necessary. We gon' be legendary, hold up. About to grow the payrolls. If you see the vision and you're with it, you should say so. Cause we about building, elevating the millions.
This is the last thing I'm going to say about it because it's really not that deep. But if you have never been a scientist, never done science, but you have this anti-science attitude and you think that debates mean anything, I'm actually empathetic because you don't know what science is. And it's understandable. Like if you've never gone through that process, it's understandable that you don't understand what science is actually about. A debate is irrelevant. You don't win by getting into a room with your friends and talking shit. And it's not first take. Nobody cares about who's your GOAT. Your opinion's irrelevant. Science is just about showing the evidence. The debate in science is I have my theory that I went into the lab. I got the observations. I laid them all out. I presented them. I published them. And you have a competing theory. Here's what you do. You get your little shit together. You go ahead, come up with an experiment. Figure out how you can get these observations. Collect them. Analyze the results. Come to some conclusion. Be sure and list your methods. We got to know exactly how you got what you got so that we can repeat it. Because it's got to be repeatable. It has to be verifiable. It has to. You got to list your uncertainties. They have to be reasonable. They have to be appropriate. You got to list all your biases and all the assumptions. And you have to be able to rule out any alternative explanations for the results that you think that you have. That's it. And if you do all that, people are going to read through and they're going to be convinced by the evidence. They're going to be convinced by the method, by the evidence, and they're just going to believe it. That's it. That's the game, man. There's no debate. You think there's a debate? A debate doesn't matter. If you can't do that, then maybe your idea is not good enough. Maybe it's not right. You should be able to do that. You can't. Otherwise, you just sitting back asking to debate the experts. Hey, Neil deGrasse, I'd love to debate you anytime. What is that going to do? You don't understand science, bro. That's not science. It's like a grown-ups game. Just show me the facts. We don't got to get into all this. It's not politics. Donald Trump and Joe Biden debating who got the least dementia. Like, it's not, they can do that. That's fine. That's fine. It's a popularity contest. But here, this is an evidence contest. Who has the best evidence? You got better evidence for me that supports your theory? All you got to do is show it. If it's true, the evidence is out there. If it's not, you just going to try to debate me behind closed doors. That's not the game. And again, I'm empathetic. I don't want to be condescending or act like a dickhead. If you don't know and you don't understand what that process is, it's understandable. But a debate, and this sarcastic, reverse psychology, you won't even debate. Come on, that's not the, what is this, bro? What is this? You're acting like a child. What is this? That's not what it's about. Just show the evidence. That's all anybody cares about.
This program was created with the love and support of all our Patreon members and subscribers. If you are not a member yet and would like to see more content like this, consider becoming a member today. The link is in the description of this video. Your support is greatly appreciated.